You know, there's something deeply humbling about sitting down with a cup of tea and your monthly bills after 60. It's not just about numbers anymore. It's about choices, about peace of mind, about the kind of life you want to live and the legacy you hope to leave behind. And yet, no one really prepares us for this part, do they? We spend decades earning, building, giving, raising families, tending to homes, caring for others. But when the working years wind down and the paychecks slow to a whisper, we're often left with quiet questions. Can I really afford the life I want in retirement? What if something unexpected happens? Am I being careful enough or too cautious to enjoy the time I have left? You're not alone if these thoughts visit you late at night. In fact, for many in our age group, whether you're in the US, Canada, or the UK, this stage of life brings a quiet tension between freedom and fear. Freedom, because we've finally earned the right to slow down, to enjoy life, travel, reconnect with hobbies, or simply rest. And fear, because money feels different now. Every dollar, every pound, every choice carries more emotional weight. That's why budgeting in our later years isn't just about spreadsheets and calculators. It's about clarity, dignity, and emotional security. Let me share something personal with you. I remember sitting with my Aunt Lily a few years back. She was 74 at the time, widowed, living alone in a small but cozy cottage just outside Manchester. She'd always been careful with money, always making do. But I could see the worry on her face when her boiler gave out during a brutal winter. It's not the cost, she told me softly. It's the feeling that I might have to choose between being warm and being okay later. It broke my heart, because she wasn't careless, she wasn't extravagant. She was simply unprepared for how fast life can throw us a curveball, even in retirement. And yet, a year later, she was thriving. Not because her finances magically improved, but because she finally reached out for help. She spoke to a financial counselor at her local community center. She created a realistic budget. She found government grants for seniors. She started planning not just for emergencies, but for joy. That's when she began taking watercolor classes again. Even went on a short bus tour to Scotland with a group of fellow retirees. Because you see, financial planning isn't about restriction, it's about restoration, about making space for joy, purpose, and peace. And today I want to share with you some gentle, soulful wisdom about how to do just that. Let's begin. Not with numbers, but with mindset. The first quiet truth is this: your needs are valid. So many of us, especially women after 50, carry guilt around spending on ourselves. After menopause, when bodies change and self-image often takes a hit, many retreat emotionally and financially. We stop buying the clothes we love. We stop investing in self-care. We tell ourselves we don't need much, but you deserve comfort. You deserve a life where your emotional and physical needs are met without apology. Whether that's making room in your budget for therapy, yoga classes, a massage, or even just a beautiful scarf that makes you feel radiant again, give yourself that grace. The second insight is to face the uncomfortable numbers with compassion. For some of us, looking at a bank balance brings shame. Maybe there were financial mistakes in the past. Maybe there were divorces, debts, health emergencies. Maybe retirement didn't unfold the way you imagine. But shame has no place in this stage of life. Regret is natural, but it's not permanent. You can't go back, but you can take one brave step forward today. And that begins with simply knowing where you stand, your income, your fixed costs, your flexible expenses. The extras, you tend to forget: gifts for grandchildren, birthday outing, the once-a-month takeaway. Bring everything into the light and do it kindly. This is not about punishing yourself. It's about taking care of yourself like you would a dear friend. The third truth, and this one's big, is about connection. Money and intimacy often don't go together in conversations, but they should. For couples, especially after decades together, finances can become a silent battleground. One wants to save, the other wants to live a little. One worries about the future, the other says, let's not talk about it now. But silence breeds distance. I've seen couples who've been together for 40 years sit on opposite ends of the couch, not because they've fallen out of love, but because they're afraid to talk about money. So my advice, start gently. Acknowledge the fear, lead with empathy, and if needed, speak to a financial mediator or counselor. These conversations aren't about math, they're about emotional safety. And if you're single, whether by choice, divorce, or loss, know that your financial independence is not a burden. It's a profound act of self-trust. Now let's talk about priorities. This is the fourth insight, one that might surprise you. After 60, our priorities shift. We begin to realize what truly matters: health, connection, time. So when you budget, start there. Allocate for your well-being doctor visits, supplements, glasses, hearing aids. These aren't luxuries, they're life. Then make room for connection. Family visits, phone plans, a weekly lunch with friends. Loneliness, especially after 65, can be as dangerous as heart disease. Staying connected is not optional, it's vital. And then joy. Please, please don't forget joy. Budget for joy the way you would for medication. Small getaways, a trip to the theater, a garden, a pet. My friend Dennis, who's 69 and lives in Ontario, swears his budget turned his life around the day he included $100 a month for his tiny woodworking shed. That space became his sanctuary, his joy, his medicine. Finally, the fifth and most powerful secret to senior budgeting is this: plan for the unexpected, but live for the beautiful. Yes, you'll need a buffer. Yes, you may need long-term care insurance or an emergency fund. But don't build a life entirely around what might go wrong. Build a life around what could go right. You've earned this chapter. You've survived the storms. You've watched people come and go. You've raised others, held others, let others go. Now, it's time to hold yourself. To care, truly care, for your heart, your body, your future. If budgeting has felt like a burden, I invite you to shift the story. See it not as sacrifice, but as sovereignty. Not as restriction, but as release. Because when you truly understand your money, you begin to reclaim your time, your energy, your joy. You begin to choose with clarity, with confidence, and with compassion. And that is what mastering budgeting in later life is truly about. If something in this video stirred something within you, I hope you'll sit with it. Maybe take a quiet hour today, light a candle, pour a cup of something warm, open your notebook, and write down what truly matters to you now. Because budgeting isn't about what you can't have. It's about what you deserve to have without guilt, without fear, and without shame. If you found comfort here, or a sense of gentle direction, please consider liking this video. Share it with someone you love, someone who might also be figuring things out in their own time, in their own way. And if you'd like more heart-centered, soulful conversations about aging with grace, purpose, and dignity, I warmly invite you to subscribe to The Age of Beauty. This space was made for you, for your wisdom, your softness, your strength. And next time, we'll talk again. Until then, take care of yourself with the same tenderness you give to everyone else. Because your story is still unfolding, and it's more beautiful than you know. And if you'd like more heart-centered, soulful conversations about aging with grace, purpose, and dignity, I warmly invite you to subscribe to The Age of Beauty.